but I was so heavily saturated and still sort of a young musician, and not like as young, obviously, as you guys were when you did your thing and you are now and you had your voice. But I think that was an interesting journey for me, and a learning one. I hit some level of success with it because I was on a television show at the time called Rescue Me.
Rescue Me, yeah.
Then a story about New York City firefighters post 9/11. And I had a 100-episode run on that show as a series regular. And I played like the rookie firefighter who he's called the probationary firefighter. And Leary's like the salty dog in the house. So it's like,
yeah, Dennis Leary, the comedian. And I loved him. I loved him in the 90s, loved him in Mixed Nuts. Yeah, I'm so glad you brought up Rescue Me naturally that way, because it was one of the things, obviously, I wanted to talk to you about as well. Because before you were coming on the show, I knew of Rescue Me. I knew the show. But I went through your IMDb and I was like, well, what else is he known for? You know, the typical background stuff you might do. Yeah. And I found Rescue Me and I was like, I remember that show. I was a kid. Well, I wasn't a kid. I was younger, and I remember hearing, I mean, this was one of FX's like first drama shows that just blew the fuck up. It was like, it was critically acclaimed. It was winning all the TV ratings and everything like that. But for whatever reason, I didn't pick it up at that time. So when I knew you were coming on the show, long story long here, I started watching it, and I was like, okay, I got to give this show. I've heard so many great things about this. I know it's far removed from the time that it was water cooler talk, but I still got to get into it. Went on Hulu, found it on FX Hulu, and I'm only 2 episodes in, so I'm not gonna lie, but I'm already sucked in, man. I love Dennis Leary's humor. I love the dramaticness of it. I love right off the bat, you mentioned being a rookie, and they're obviously coursing you into peeing in a cup and shitting in a bag and putting it on the Chiefs desk. And I'm like, come on, what's not to love here in this show? I'm hooked,
dude. First of all, thank you. That's sick that you started watching it. The show is nuts. Leary's crazy. And that show, you could never, I don't think it could survive today. I mean, by the way, we went off the...
No way. Right off the bat, dude. The joke, the banter and the dialogue, right off the bat, I was like, that wouldn't fly these days.
Oh, bro. The thing about it is it's a firehouse. It's a bunch of dudes ragging on each other. And what was fun for me is I'm the rookie, the probie he's called. He catches a lot of shit, and it's really funny, man. And Leary, like I said, is the salty dog, and he's from Worcester, Mass. Dennis, like his dad was a mechanic. Like he holds the fire department so close to his heart. There was something called the Worcester Six, and it was before 9/11, and his cousin died in that fire. So he started the Leary Firefighter Foundation. And then obviously it started growing so big, and there was an obvious need for it after 9/11, and he's raised millions of dollars, man, that goes straight to the cause. Like if guys in New Orleans need boats, rescue boats, if, guys need ropes, it supplies the firehouses a new truck with unbelievable equipment to do their job right, and it's funny because he wanted in this film, in this show, he shopped it around to a lot of different networks. I remember at the time being close with him, and sort of, it's amazing how much I ended up learning from him that I realize now because I'm producing this.
In the Retaliators, yeah.
He produced Rescue Me, co-created, starred in it. So I was like, wow. So I was able to pick up a lot being around the guy, but finding the right home for it. And you're right, FX, like whether it was CBS or somewhere in that NBC, CBS, one of the major networks was like, yeah, we got it, but you have to shoot in LA. And he didn't want to shoot in LA. It's a show about New York City firefighters. Then someone else was like, yeah, he wanted to choose all the music. That's another thing, that the music is, the Von Bondies are the opening theme song. I
heard that. I was listening to it. I was like, That's an interesting pick, but I like it. It sets up a vibe,
Yeah. So anyway, he had all this creative control that he wanted because he wanted to make sure that he told his story, and it was a truthful story and depicted firefighters as real human beings. So at the end of the day, they're guys who do their job, and their job is to run in burning buildings when people are running out and save people, but they are flawed human beings. They're real people. Right. It was so important to him to get into that story and express that who they really were. One guy has a gambling problem, the chief. You'll see as you go along, this guy has this issue, PTSD, all these different issues that we all struggle with as human beings, but their job at the end of the day is what it is, and they're heroes. And there was that aspect. And then in the fires, he wanted it to be really real. So it's not like Backdraft's a cool movie, but it's like
right.
against flame, and you could see everything. In a real fire, you can see a foot in front of you if you're lucky, sometimes not even. So the audience might not be able to see our faces perfectly in those scenarios, but he wanted it to be real and filled with so you felt the raw, and you maybe could just maybe smell the smoke from watching the screen. That was really important. And but the show, man, it goes pretty. There's some dark levels to it. There's a lot of comedy too. It's both. And
right.
There was another thing they didn't know. Like, we'd get nominated for Golden Globe, but do you go comedy or drama? So I think that kept him out of things. But that was never his concern. It was always about the work and telling the real story.
Yeah, you don't worry about a genre when you're writing something. I mean, that goes for music. It goes for any art, I think. You don't care about the genre. You just fucking go for it, right?
Yeah, man, you write your story and the story that you want to tell. And that's when I was saying, to bring this back to Apache Stone, that was my band at that time. That was my influence. But like in making this movie, I was all the things. And of course, I'm older now that I've been influenced by. I never for a second tried to be any one thing in this, but who me and the writers to tell the story that we wanted to tell. And I think that's what I'm so proud of about this film. It may not be for everyone, and I know we're going to get to it later, but that's cool because nothing that I like or nothing that I think is good is for everyone, right? You don't try to create something that's for everyone. You create what you want to make and what you believe in and the story you want to tell. So yeah, that was important. And Dennis is a very, he taught me a lot about that and other things.